Welcome back, ladies and gents. September 19th, 2017. It's a beautiful Tuesday night. Welcome to the Smarmy Grin podcast, episode number 8. Episode numero 8. Not as in ocho cinco. Ocho. Well, today I'll be covering a little bit of what's been in the news. What's going on in this world? A 7.1 earthquake hit just south of Mexico City. Dozens of people dead, many others injured. A lot of buildings have collapsed. I'm assuming these are the older buildings in that area and in Mexico City. So it's been kind of like a strange day today. It's been a really beautiful day in Central Florida, and then you get home and then you hear this news, and it's actually really sad just to hear that. Your neighbors to the south are hurting. They were hurting for us when Hurricane Harvey hit Texas and when Hurricane Irma hit us here in Central Florida and in Florida. So my prayers are with the people of Mexico tonight. I lived in Mexico when I was a kid. I lived there for a total of 2 years. I lived in a small town called Querétaro, which is north of Mexico City, the capital. We also lived in Mexico City, the capital, for about 6 months. My mom didn't really care for big cities, so we ended up leaving and moving to Querétaro. If you're not familiar with the area, Querétaro is a really beautiful city. There's a lot of architecture and history there. A lot of old Spanish architecture. The old Roman Spanish aqueducts all around the city. It's a beautiful thing to see during the day, but it's even more beautiful to see at night. So I'm very familiar with the area and the people there. We met a lot of great people back when I was a kid. This had to be like back in 84, between 83 and 86. So we met a lot of wonderful people there. That was actually the first time that I learned how to ride a bike. That was in Querétaro, which I learned, but after hitting the washer and the dryer like 50 times, I finally learned. After I crashed 50 times and bouncing off the washer after hitting the dryer. So there's a lot of good memories for me when I look back at my time in Mexico. And it was a lot of fun living there. I absolutely loved the city there. The food was spectacular. Can't get better than Mexican food. The pastries there were delicious, amazing. And there's a little square in Querétaro. That's where the historic part of the city is located. And if you ever been to St. Augustine in Savannah, it's kind of like that. It's got that old school square that you would see in older towns. A lot of the smaller towns in America have that. Woodstock in Illinois, west of Chicago, has that. That's where that movie Groundhog's Day was filmed. I visited that area about 10 years ago. Didn't even know that that's where they filmed Groundhog's Day until I came back home and I looked it up because it looked so familiar. But that's how the square down in Querétaro looks like. But it's got the old Spanish Mediterranean architecture around it. It's really beautiful. And my mom and I, when we used to live there, we used to spend a lot of time in that park. That park in the square. And there's a lot of like shops at the time. I mean, even now it's still there, but there's a lot of small family-owned shops and and delis and cafes and stuff like that. But there used to be a store there called Tienda del Sol, and my mom would sit at the bench, and as I was like, just, I was a kid, just being a kid, just playing with other kids and just doing mischievous things. So she would just sit at one of the benches there and just to keep an eye out on me. But my favorite thing to do in that square was going to Tienda del Sol, because they had an electric staircase. So I used to like just run up and down that staircase. I used to spend hours and hours just doing that. So until like the manager got upset because he told my mom that I was upsetting a lot of people, and I was basically in everybody's way. And my mom was like, well, what's he doing that's so bad? And he's like, well, the kid's pushing everybody out of the way. So, which was true, that's what I was doing. Like I said, I mean, I was a good kid to a point, but so the manager kicked me out, and so after that, my mom just didn't want me to go to that store because she didn't want me to get into any trouble. So we would just spend most of our time at the park just hanging out on her off time and all that. And so we spend a lot of time there. We spent many days there. And my mom, I just remember all those days just fondly, because it was always she and I. And so I always counted on her, and later in life she counted on me. And I just had such an amazing childhood with my mom. And I'll never forget those times, and being a kid and her basically doing everything for me, as far as just what was best for me. But the time that we spent in Mexico was really special. I went to school there. I made a lot of friends, and she made a lot of friends. And even up until before she passed, she still visited Mexico on an annual basis. And she loved going down there. Absolutely enjoyed it. She had her own personal doctor there. Many expats live in Mexico. Many of them live around that area. A lot of them live in Baja because of the weather and the beach and all that. There's a lot of places in Mexico that are not gang or cartel riddled, believe it or not. So our time there was special. This was back in the 80s, and we lived there pre and post the big earthquake that they had, I believe, in 85. And today's earthquake happened on the anniversary of that 85 earthquake. So that's kind of weird. And but it's really sad because Mexico had a thriving economy in the 80s, from 70s and 80s, and the economy was doing really well. After that big earthquake, that 85 earthquake, the economy never recovered. And I don't think the country ever recovered from that. So to see this country get hit with another big earthquake like this, it's going to set them back as well. I hope it doesn't set them back as the last one did, the 85 earthquake did. But it will definitely set them back. And this is just the one earthquake. Who knows if there's aftershocks or anything like that, or another big one's it's on their way. I hope not. I hope they don't get hit with another big earthquake. So it makes me worry. I worry for them, and I worry for a lot of the people that live in Querétaro, which is, I would say, like an hour north of Mexico City. We still have friends that live there, and we still care for them. But my time there in Mexico was just great. It was fun. I loved being there. The people were great. That was actually also, besides learning how to ride a bike, It was the first time that I ever played a video game, the first time that I ever saw an arcade. And the arcade which was such a bad idea that we rented this apartment out across the street from the arcade. Because as soon as I played my first video game, my first arcade game, which was Pitfall, if you guys remember Pitfall, I was hooked. I was hooked on video games. From then on, you could not get me from playing video games. So after school, I would just head to the arcade and spend my mom's money. And my mom used to get so mad at me because I used to spend her money. Sometimes, honestly, I have to be honest. Sometimes I would ask her, and sometimes I wouldn't. But I was a kid. I was a kid that was hooked on this drug called Pitfall. But that's the first time that I ever played an arcade. And I had so much fun living in Mexico, and those times are just very special for me. So I'm praying for everybody who lives down there. I'm praying for all the people that live down there. And thanks, Mexico, for teaching me how to ride a bike and for teaching me how to play Pitfall. So, and I haven't been back since the last time we lived there, so that's like over 30 years. I'm hoping that in the next year I get to go back and visit Querétaro and Mexico City and a couple other places north of Querétaro. And I just want to see how the city looks like. I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube on how the city looks like right now, and it still looks beautiful. Those Roman aqueducts are gorgeous. If you want to see what I'm talking about, just go to YouTube and YouTube Querétaro, which is Queretaro. So just YouTube Querétaro, and then you'll see tons of videos on Querétaro. It really is a beautiful city. It's probably one of the jewels, one of Mexico's jewels. So, but it's a little bit it's sad, you know. There's a lot of things as far as disasters are going on right now. The hurricanes, this current earthquake that just happened today. They just had another one, I believe, not too long ago, like a month ago or something like that. It wasn't as bad as this one. I think that one triggered a tsunami, a small tsunami. I think this one's like off the coast of Mexico and on the Pacific. So, and I believe that one triggered a small tsunami. But this one was right in the middle of Mexico, just south of Mexico City. So it's sad. I don't know if you've seen the video, but a lot of buildings collapsed. Many people died. Quite a scary situation to be in. A lot of those buildings that collapsed are older buildings that were not built to sustain an earthquake, any kind of earthquake, really. But a lot of the newer, bigger buildings are they're being engineered to sustain that kind of a hit from an earthquake. So a lot of the buildings that collapsed today were older buildings. So it's a sad day in Mexico, and it's sad to hear what's going on down there. But so that was that. I found that out after work on my way from the bank. I had to deposit some money so I can pay some bills. But so I just wanted to touch base on that. And speaking of driving from work, usually after work I'll usually run a couple of errands before I come home, and I try to do them as much as all of them actually as much as I can before I call it a day, instead of just dragging it out and doing one here and another one there. I'd rather just get everything out of the way. And tonight I'm gonna keep this short. It's gonna be a short podcast, but I'm just gonna segue my way into my venting, my vent, the bitching, the moaning segment. This whole podcast tonight is basically on me moaning and bitching about this. But so tonight, I leave work, and I was sitting at work all day, and I was like, before I left, I was sitting at work all day, and I was like, I need a haircut. It's already been like 2.5 weeks. I usually get my haircut every 2 weeks. So I'm like, well, let me go check it out. I usually just swing by after work. So I went there, swung by. As soon as I pulled in to the parking lot, and as soon as I pulled into my parking space, I looked inside. There was nobody inside. But as soon as I pulled into that parking space, bam, 2 guys already walking in. I was like, oh, what the hell, man? I was so mad. I was like, come on, man. Now I gotta wait. So I go inside, and it's the usual. They'll ask you, hey, what's your name, phone number? To get my name, phone number, and then the small talk. So I'm like, all right, cool. There's like 3 people here that are cutting hair. 2 of them are busy. This third one, she's not busy. So I'm probably next. I don't have to wait. So as soon as I give her my name, my phone number, and I'm about to sit down, she's like, oh, listen, you're going to have to wait because somebody... if the online guy, the guy that's with the online appointment shows up, then you're just gonna have to wait. And I'm like, oh, this is just fantastic. So as soon as she said that, of course, the guy shows up, the guy with who made the online appointment. And my bitching and moaning about this is, I get it. If you make an online appointment, you did the responsible thing for you, and whatever time you make that appointment for, you should get it. But come on, people, we're not talking about brain surgery here. It's just a haircut. They really need to get rid of these online appointments, because I've been at these haircuttery places, and you would see all the people that are working there, all of them are busy. Sometimes you have 3 or 4 people waiting in the waiting area, and they're waiting to get their haircuts. And I've seen these online appointment people just walk right in and get their haircuts and walk right out while the rest of us are waiting there. I think that's absolute crap. I can't stand that. They gotta get rid of that, because that's not customer service. I'm sorry. They need to get rid of that whole online appointment thing. And I just don't care for it. And I'm sure that a lot of people don't. A lot of the people that I've seen, they don't care for it, because it's basically cutting in line. If you have 3 people that have been waiting there for a good 20 minutes, and then somebody made an appointment like 5 minutes before they got there, and they get to go in first and get service first, I think that's crap. I'm sorry. You're just going to have to wait with the rest of us. These haircuttery places have to get rid of that. They really do, because they're upsetting a lot of customers, and people are just going to stop coming in, and people are just not. They're going to look for other places to get their haircuts or places to go to. So that was my situation tonight. I walk in there, and sure enough, as soon as I gave her my name and my phone number, and I was thinking, okay, I'm next because she's not busy, then she proceeds to tell me that there was somebody that made an online appointment, and if they showed up, they would be first before me. I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me, man. So, like I said before, sure enough, the dude walked in and walked right in to get his haircut. And so I was like, alright, so I'll wait. It shouldn't take too long. Maybe like 5, at the most 10 minutes. So I sit down, and lo and behold, another lady that works there shows up. And oh my god, man, this lady has cut my hair before, and she has butchered my head before. And that's when I was like, okay, all right, I gotta go, because this lady is she is not cutting my hair. The last 3 times this lady cut my hair, she butchered my head. And I think with this lady, I'm like 1 for 5. Because I only got one good haircut from her the last 5 times that she cut my hair. And why did I ever keep coming back to her? Because I'm stupid. So, and completely impatient at times. So, I was like, man, as soon as I saw her walk in, I was like, oh my god, bro. Like, okay, I gotta go. Because this lady's not gonna butcher my head. And then, if I would have asked for someone else to cut my hair, I would have been there an extra 20 minutes. And I had things to do. So I was like, you know what, man? I'm out of here. But I was like, dang, man, everything was going so well. Like, my drive to that place was going so well. Even the parking space that I got, was right up front. And then as soon as I get out of my car, bam, 2 dudes walk in. And then, bam, the online guy walks in. I was like, oh, the online appointment guy just showed up. Damn it. So he shows up, and out of nowhere, the lady that loves butchering my hair shows up. I'm like, oh boy, okay, that's it for me, man. I think, honestly, I really do have to, like, just look at signs, and signs that God throws at you, or it's just the timing of things. And I should have known as soon as I saw those 2 dudes walk in, I should have just, like, walked back to my car and just kept going with my day. And it just, honestly, I had like 3 consecutive signs that told me you need to get the heck out of here and don't waste your time. And I didn't listen to that. I didn't listen to those signs. So next time, I'm just gonna stick to my instincts and just read the signs that I'm given and just go with the flow and just get the heck out of there and leave. And I'll give you a good example of, okay, so the lady walks in, she's butchered my hair a lot of times. There's another lady that works there who traumatized me like 6 years ago. I walk in there, I get the same haircut all the time. I know it's pathetic, but I get the same haircut all the time. I've been doing this type of haircut, fade and all that, for a long time. So 6 years ago, I walk in there, and right off the bat, this lady was rude. This is a different lady. This lady was rude. So I told her what I wanted. And she was extremely rude throughout the whole process. And so she gets done with cutting my hair. At this point, I just wanted to get the hell out of there. Because I was just like, oh man, this lady's just an absolute you know what. So she cuts my hair. I leave, I get home, my girlfriend at the time, we were talking, whatever, so I go to the kitchen, she goes to the kitchen, and she just starts laughing, and I'm like, what are you laughing about? And she's like, did you just get your haircut? And I'm like, yeah, I just got my haircut. I was like, have you seen your head? I was like, what? I started to freak out, because I was like, what are you talking about? What do you mean, have I seen my head? She's like, yeah, come here. So she drags me in the bathroom. And she's like, just look at the mirror. Look here. She puts this other mirror behind me. And she's like, just look at the reflection of the back of your head. And I kid you not, this lady she basically gave me a bald spot in the middle, in the back of my head, in the middle of the head. She gave me this huge bald spot. And I was so mad. I was kind of shocked, because I was like, what the hell is this lady doing? Like, what? How do you do that? And I'm just looking at this thing like, what? Oh my god, man! Like I got like a Rasheed Wallace like thing here in the back of my head. So I was like, what's going on here? My girlfriend at the time, she was just laughing. I didn't find it funny because she butchered my head, but I mean, later I found it funny because it was comical when we talked about it afterwards, And but I was like, I was traumatized by that whole event. I was like, oh my god, like she like, there's a hole in my head, like there's no hair there. Like she put like Nair in there and then just left it and didn't even tell me about it. So I was like, what the heck is going on here, man? Is this lady blind? She doesn't know how to cut hair? Did she just graduate? Was I like a guinea pig for her or something like that? Or something like that? And I was like, oh my god, man, like I was completely traumatized. So when you get a really bad haircut, and it doesn't matter who it is, you are traumatized because that's what you're representing of yourself. I mean, that's what the way that you look is what other people see in you. Like that, you know, if you're nice, you know, cut guy, then people see that. And you know, as a man, I want to represent the best in me to other people. And you know, and having a really nice haircut, you know, does that to a person, you know, to a man or a woman. So when you get a bad haircut, you are basically traumatized. It's like somebody torturing you, and it never leaves your head because you're thinking about that, and you're like, the next time you go there, you're like, oh man, no, I don't want that lady, no, just get away from me, stop. So like, so that's how I feel every time that I go get a haircut, and that's how I felt today when this lady walked in. This was the other lady who butchered my head like 4 out of 5 times. So when I saw her, in my head, I was screaming. I was like, oh, no, lady. No, you're not cutting my hair. Oh, I'm out. So like, I got up and I was like, all right, I'll be back later. I'm out. See you. Bye. So I left. Because I didn't want that lady butchering my head. That's how it is. I think like situations like that give you PTSD. Like getting a bad haircut gives you PTSD. And a lot of these experiences will stay with you for a long time. I mean, the lady that gave me that bald spot, that was 6 years ago. And this other lady that has butchered my hair 4 out of 5 times, the last time, the times that she's cut my head, like that's stuck with me. So as soon as I saw her, I was just like, oh man, it felt like I was like in the middle of the forest, in the middle of the woods, in the middle of the night, and I just saw Jason and Freddy and Jason and Freddy and Chucky at the same time coming after me. That's how it felt like. So I was like, okay, I gotta get out of here, man. So I just like quickly jumped out and I left. I couldn't, man. I got in my car. My car wouldn't start because this lady was coming out of the hair cuttery place with her clippers looking for me, and my damn car wouldn't start. No, I'm just kidding. That didn't happen. Come on, man. Like, so, but that's what it felt like. That's like what that whole scenario felt like. That whole cliche. You're trying to get away from the murderer, from the mass murderers, from the psychopath, and you put your key in the ignition, it doesn't start. And that's how I felt like when I left that place. I was like, oh my god, like my car wouldn't start, and here comes the lady with her clippers looking for me, coming after me. So that's what it felt like. And I was like, you know what, I'm out. So I left. I wasn't going to deal with that, man. I wasn't going to deal with a bad haircut and having a bad haircut for the next 2 weeks. I was like, no way, man. I'm not doing that. That's trauma right there, and I don't want to deal with that trauma and the stress. And I don't want my buddies at the gym on Thursday just making fun of me because I got a really bad haircut. So, because you know that's gonna happen. You know your buddies are gonna rag on you, and so yeah, that's traumatic. That's traumatic to a dude, and it's traumatic to a dude like me. So I bounced, man. I bounced and left, and I was done. I'm like, all right, I'm out. See ya. But I have to say, though, I'll give credit where credit is due. The lady that gave me the bald spot, she messed up my hair that one time. But every single time since, this is why I believe in second chances. Every single time since, she has done a great job in cutting my hair. Because I tell her I want a 0 fade, a 7 clipper on top, and just trim it really nice and even it out, and that's it. And every single time she's done a great job. So I have to give her credit, and that's the person that I was actually looking for tonight, and she wasn't there. And that was like my 4th sign. So that should have been, I mean, honestly, I'm that dumb. Like, the first two signs should have said to me, okay, get back in your car and just keep going with your day. But no, I had to get out of my car, go in there, and just see every single sign and still stay there. So, and still stay there and still get chased by the murderous, the clipping lady. But anyways, that's what I wanted to get off my chest tonight. I wanted to bitch and moan about that. And what I wanted to say is that people, just give somebody a second chance. Just because they butchered your haircut the first time around doesn't mean they'll keep doing it. So just give the lady that cut your hair a chance. Just give her a second chance. Anyways, that's the end of my episode tonight. I hope you guys are having an awesome night. And I will talk to you in podcast number 9. And thanks for listening to the Smarmy Grin podcast. Have a good night. See ya!